Ooh, boy. All right. Welcome to take 3. We are going to be going through some stretches for your quads, for your hip flexors. And I have already done this whole thing for those of you who are not watching this live. This will be the 3rd time. And due to all kinds of technical difficulties, I feel like I just have to do it again. So we're going to go through all the instructions again. If you're one of the people who has already watched me explain this many times, I'm sorry, but for the rest of you who are watching this probably afterwards, here's why we're doing this. Your quads are muscles that are here on your thighs. If you do a lot of things with knee extension, if you're doing squats, if you're running, if you're biking, hiking, even doing long walks, if you're doing a lot of stairs, if you are doing whatever with your legs, you're probably using your quads. And if you have done a lot to train the strength of your quads, they can get really, really stiff. It can affect knee function. It can lead to knee pain. It can lead to hip pain. It can lead to anterior pelvic tilt because your quads pull on the front of your pelvis and you can't open up. It can reduce your ability to get hip extension because they will pull you into this. So when you want to sprint, when you want to explode and use your butt muscle, you can't because your quads are shutting down the function of your butt muscles. Okay? Hip flexors. Deep in here. Okay, they'll be attached to your femur, going up to the front of your lower back. They dive under your guts, which is cool, and into your pelvis. You also have the adductors, which help pull the femur in, but they also assist with hip flexion, which I'm going to explain some ways you can hit them with some of the stretches that we're doing today. But just because we call them adductors does not mean they don't also do other things. We just think of them as, oh, they're just adductors, but the way they attach, you cannot help but realize they are also hip flexors, okay? Also, we are going to talk about an inspiring story that somebody sent me. We'll do that at the end. And then if there are questions from the live chat, which who knows if I'll even get any questions or if I'll even be able to see them, because I'm sure something is going to go wrong today on this 3rd take, we will get to those questions. If you have questions, you're joining me right now, please pop your questions in the live chat. Please let me know right now if there are any issues with the audio or the video so that we can get them squared away right now. Because please don't make me do this again. Okay, so let's go into the instructions first. Quad stretch, hip flexor stretch. Then we're going to do them together. Then we're going to talk about the inspiring story. Then we are going to do any extra questions. I'm going to handle questions at some point. I swear it's going to work this time. All right, so for the quad stretch, we don't really need equipment. We just need a soft enough floor to lie down on. I'm using a mat here because hardwood is not soft. You are going to put your top leg, you're going to put on the wall. So I got my knee against the wall. I got my foot against the wall. I'm starting off in a pretty gentle position, not really any tension here, but if you feel tension on the outer hip because of this, because maybe your pelvis is wider than my pelvis, or you just have a tighter outer hip, whatever it is, you can use a cushion, a yoga block, whatever you got, stick it under there so you don't have to drop your knee so low to feel supported, right? Putting it on the ground, depending on the geometry here, it might feel like a huge stretch on the outer hip to put the knee down on the ground, so you don't have to, okay? You can just elevate it, put it wherever it needs to be. Okay, we're gonna be lying down, so we're just flat down on here. If you want, you could also even do stuff where you have the knee deliberately elevated to kind of get at the adductors too, okay? But whatever position you got your knee in, you're now going to think about bringing your butt and your torso closer to the wall over here so that your butt is getting closer to your foot. So, if I, let me adjust the microphone here. If I scooch back here, now I'm going to start getting a stretch on my quads, right? So the reason we're doing it this way is because for many people, you cannot reach your foot and ankle gracefully without doing some funky side bending and whatever to try to achieve it. This gives you the opportunity to just get the stretch, no problem. Everything is trapped in position. You don't have to balance yourself, hold on to something. You don't feel wobbly. You're just here, you're getting the quad stretch. Keep the butt muscle lightly engaged and make sure you don't feel like your low back is taking the hit. Okay? Should feel like a quad stretch. Then you're going to, if you want more intensity, you can push the foot into the wall. You're going to feel the quads contract. Hold it for 3 to 5 seconds, relax it, and then do it again. So this is a more advanced way you can do this. If you feel like just breathing and relaxing is a little too boring for you, this could be a nice way to mix it up. Also keep in mind, when you're doing this, you should not feel like your knee is going to blow up. You shouldn't feel like your back is getting jammed. You shouldn't feel like anything is really painful or sharp. You just want a stretch going all across the front of the thigh here. That's it. Okay, then stretch number 2. People who are watching live, I'm very worried because I don't see anybody saying anything in the live chat. And I don't know if that's just because something's broken on my end or you're not saying anything, but please, for the love of everything, please, somebody just drop something in the live chat and let me know where you are and if you have a question. All right, because if I see nothing, I'm going to assume everything is broken. All right, so we're going to then stretch out the hip flexor. So to do this, I'm just going to demonstrate it with my left leg. You can take your right leg, step forward, left hand is planted, and then you're going to shift the hips forward. You're keeping the left butt cheek a little bit squeezed and engaged. And you are looking for the stretch across the front of this hip. You might feel it at the top of the quads. You might feel it a little bit more towards the groin. You might feel it if you lean over to the side. You might feel it on the outer hip. If you lean more over to your support leg, you might feel it more into the inner thigh muscles. Okay, there's all kinds of options here. So if you want to get at your groin, your adductors, shifting over to the right really helps. Okay, shifting over to the left, outer hip. Again, don't feel it in your lower back. Focus on feeling it in the front of your hip. And if you want, you can also add some twists. I just would caution you, like if we're gonna start adding twists, things like this, make sure you're still feeling it in the right spot. Make sure you get it in the front of the hip or the side of the hip, wherever you're aiming. You don't have to do that today. In fact, I would suggest you not do that today. But in the future, when you're messing around and you want to get real funky with it, you can do that. Just make sure you feel it in the right spot. And let me give you a side view too, so you can see I'm pushing the hips forward and down towards the floor. Okay, I'm not doing anything like reaching up with my head like this, unless that's for a deliberate reason. Okay, we're trying to just stretch this. The other thing for many people watching this, getting the foot here so that the knee is close to the shoulder might feel like it's impossible. And there are 2 things about that I want you to realize. Number 1, one day you will be able to do that if you gradually work towards it. So don't make up excuses about how it's like not possible for most humans or whatever. It's doable. Don't sabotage your progress by negative self-talk right off the bat, or by saying like, oh, that guy on the screen must be whatever, ballet gymnast, blah 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 blah. It's totally doable. If you see another human do something where they can position a body part in some place, except for the like crazy extremes, it's probably doable. Okay, but if you're very limited, a lot of things look like crazy extremes even though they're not. So you gotta calibrate a little bit and know that just being able to get here, it's not that crazy. Okay, so if this is hard for you, you can just put your knee down and then focus on getting the stretch with the knee down. All right, totally fine, totally fair. And if you're that stiff, you're probably going to want to also look at some of the hamstring stretch stuff that I've put up recently. It'll help you. So watch those too. Okay, so that's it. 2 stretches, quads, hip flexors. Thank you everybody in the chat who have responded. I appreciate it. Let me just make sure nobody's saying I can't hear you. Somebody says Markiplier. I had no idea who Markiplier was until somebody like 2 years ago was like, think Matt Chu is a Markiplier or something. And I swear I'm not. I actually don't even remember what his videos are about. But anyway, I'll take it. All right, so we're going to start off. Knee on the wall, foot on the wall. And if you need the cushion, use the cushion. Let's get into place. And then let's start. Minute and a half is going. Enjoy that stretch. Nice, relaxed breaths. In an earlier take of this live stream, somebody asked if these get recorded and if they're accessible later, and the answer is yes. YouTube automatically saves them. Some of them I leave totally public. Some of them I make available to members and or on Patreon. So if you are looking for recordings, I believe when you go to the Upright Health YouTube channel page, if you click on live, I believe you'll find the recordings there. And I think they come up when you search for specific things, so that's a good option. So keep trying to go a little deeper. If you haven't already played with it, you can play with those contractions where you press your foot into the wall. You feel the quads working, counting to 3 to 5, and you relax. And that might give you almost an instantaneous extra bit of range of motion, but it might not. Don't rush it, and definitely don't force it if it hurts. And we're out of time on this side, so let's walk it back over to the start position. Yes, the camera is still on. It looks like things are still working. I am so grateful to see that. All right, so knee, foot. So grateful to see it's functioning. I hope I'm not jinxing it. All right, so we're on the other leg, knee, foot. Gonna go a minute and a half. Nice, relaxed breathing. Inhale. Exhale. One thing to pay attention to, besides just the muscular sensations, is what your brain does when you're in the middle of a stretch. It'll probably try to wander off somewhere. It's good to take it back to the muscular sensation. Feel whatever is happening, pay attention to it. It makes a big difference. I used to stretch a lot while just watching TV, but anytime I would do a session where I was really just focused and paying attention, I would just get better results, you know? So pay attention. All right, contracting and pressing into the wall. You don't have to do this if you're not ready, but if you want to try it, pressing into the wall just a little bit, feeling the quads work, then relax, feel them relax, feel them be challenged to lengthen. Do it again. Relax. Oof. All right, that was a minute and a half on that. So then we're going to stretch out the right hip flexors. Take your time. So right hip flexors is going to be left foot is your support leg. You can either have it stepped out or be on a knee, whatever works for you. And greetings to Maz Griffiths from Liverpool, UK. All right. And I saw something about sciatica, but the screen is now too far. I can't read it. I'll get to it in a second. All right, so right hand down, left leg is supporting us. Minute and a half. You should keep the right glute a little bit squeezed. And you can adjust your upper body position If you want to be straight forward or leaned over to the side to try to get more into the adductors, that's all okay. Let me give you a side view so you can see we're trying to press the hips, the pelvis down, forward and down. And I can see Zane's question now. My dad suffers from sciatica. Is there anything he can do at home to get rid of it? Well, I believe the answer is yes. We'll get to that later. Probably can't go through like a whole thing here, but we'll get to some chat time about that. Just find the angle that gives you a nice stretch. Sometimes these muscles can feel like wood around your hips until they, and go ahead and relax, until you have stretched them out enough and used them enough, strengthened them and lengthened them enough, and then they start to feel like normal muscles. And those are great times. All right, so now left leg, your left leg getting stretched, right leg is your support leg. However you need to do it, you can have your knee down, you can have your foot planted, and away we go. Minute and a half. My outer hips feel like they really need this. And I know why that is. Because sitting on a surfboard, riding a snowboard, riding a one wheel, they all have my outer hips shortened up and constantly contracting in a funny way for hours on end. And then the outer hips forget, these outer hip muscles forget how to lengthen and be strong in that lengthened position. And then when I sit on a computer chair, the same thing happens. So it's just a pattern that gets reinforced. When I sit in a car, the same thing happens. And the pattern gets reinforced. So how do we break a pattern? We establish a new one. Breathing, relaxing, keeping that left butt cheek squeezed. All right. So that's 2 stretches for the quads and the hip flexors. I can't stand up right now because my head will get cut off, but you could stand up and feel things out. You might notice that your hips feel a whole lot more mobile. You might feel like, ooh, it's nice and loosey-goosey. You can actually get hip extension. You might be able to notice like, oh, I can squeeze my butt muscles more. I can stand up straighter. Those would be very, very common results from having stretched out your quads and hip flexors. I would suggest when you have time doing 2 rounds of this. And if one of your sides is obviously stiffer than the other side, then doing an extra set for that stiffer side would be a great idea to help even things out, right? So I want to get to the story. I got an email. I think it came last night. Somebody left a story. Somebody named Kristen. And I really like her story. And so I'm going to share it with you. It made me feel really good. So she said, I had a lot of pain in the front of my hip, leg, and a tight, stiff lower back. I went to 4 physical therapists. And only the last one mentioned I had a problem with internal rotation. Luckily, after spending hours on YouTube investigating how to restore internal rotation, I found Matt and Upright Health. I have been doing the Healthy Hips custom program for about a month. My pain is way less to non-existent. If I do feel pain, I know which exercises and or stretches to do, and really I only spend 15 to 20 minutes 3 times a week, and I'm able to do my strength training workouts too. That's awesome. That's not always true for everybody. Sometimes people have to dial back the strength training workouts, just FYI, but this is awesome for Kristen. The Healthy Hips is a great program for people that don't know what the problem is too. There are self-tests to help figure out the problem. That's also true. I didn't write this, by the way. Kristen wrote this. I'm very grateful I found Upright Health and the Healthy Hips program. Kristen, thank you very much for taking the time to send in that note. I'm super happy that the custom portion of the Healthy Hips program helped you dial things in and helped you figure out what you needed to focus on. I've tried to pack that program with everything I've learned since, gosh, like the mid-2000s is when I really started trying to fix my own body. And then I think probably 2009 is when I really started doing exercise stuff. So it's been, what, 15 years of thinking about this stuff. And I've tried to jam that all into the Healthy Hips program, and I'm glad that it has helped you. In an earlier live stream, somebody asked me what kind of doctor, or name a doctor who can help me with my posture. And I was answering that question, but my microphone was totally messed up. The audio was terrible. The answer to that question is there are very few doctors who can help you with your posture, because the overwhelming majority of doctors are not trained to think about posture as a muscular issue. The overwhelming majority of health practitioners are not trained to think about posture as a muscular issue, but you need to realize that the way your body is held in space is determined by your muscles. So if this were my resting posture, it would be because the muscles of my shoulder and arm are keeping the bones in that position. Likewise, if my spine, my rib cage, my head are held in this position, it's because the muscles of my spine, rib cage, shoulders, neck, all that stuff, those muscles are allowing that. They are the ones that determine where these bones get held. If those muscles can put the bones in specific places, the bones actually can rest pretty well, and that looks like good posture because it looks a lot more effortless. It looks like, oh, everything is stacked on top of each other rather than like, Okay, so instead of thinking, who's the doctor who can help me, you should be thinking, what can I do for myself? Because there are no doctors who can make your muscles do what they need to do. If there were, that doctor would be like fabulously wealthy. I'm sure there are practitioners out there who are fabulously wealthy because they make claims about that stuff, but you can fix your posture yourself. If you're talking about hunchback posture, I have a whole bunch of free videos. If you look at hunchback posture and upright health, you will find many exercises that help with that. If those aren't enough, you can go to the Hunchback Fix program on my website at uprighthealth.com/DIY. That will also help you with your posture. It's a bunch of simple follow-along workouts to kind of tune up your shoulders and your neck, help you with forward head posture. But that's only if the free videos don't help you, right? So go look at the free ones first, obviously, because that's free. And except you have to watch those YouTube videos. Get YouTube Premium, something like that. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. To me, it's not about finding the expert high holy priests who can help you, right? It's about figuring out what the tools are that you can use for yourself. Because ultimately with your body, with muscles, there's only so much other people can do for you. And I will talk about that actually. There's been something I've been meaning to make a video about that happened almost 20 years ago with a really great expert massage therapist who was really honest with me. I will share that in a different video. Let's see. So somebody mentioned the sciatica. So in terms of that, I forgot who it was, but somebody asked, like, is there anything their dad can do to fix sciatica at home? Almost definitely yes. The only problem is it's really hard to determine what that is. It could be, like starting with simple things like very gentle hamstring stretching might help. very gentle, even like knee extension might help. Maybe, like I've seen this too, like it could be the glutes are actually really weak and need to be turned back on, which I'm assuming since you're asking for your dad, you're at least 18 on YouTube and you don't live with your dad, probably. So your dad's probably older. So your dad, unless he's a rare older dad, he probably has atrophied butt muscles. But some other muscles may have spasmed up because the butt muscles are too weak, right? Or maybe if he's really active, maybe he did something that really like forced some muscles to cramp up, and maybe he needs a massage and or stretch them. I've seen different presentations when I've seen it in clients, and I've never felt comfortable enough to say like, oh yeah, you can always just do this to fix that, which is why like I don't have a program that's like the sciatica program, because I feel like there's a lot of different ways you can make this problem happen. So this comes down to he needs to be moving gently and trying to figure out like bigger picture, what's weak, what's stiff, what needs to be addressed. I didn't have sciatica a few weeks ago, but I did completely wreck my back. Like I couldn't bend over to touch my toes. Like getting in this position was impossible. And to restore all that, I had to do some gentle stretching. I had to massage my butt muscles. I had to also think about like, oh, okay, what is the pattern I'm always stuck in training? And it was always going like this way because of board sports. And then how do I train that out? How do I restore some of the functionality of my glutes? Because I also knew that those were not firing. So it's not like there's a one size fits all, because like we're not all one size, I guess is the simplest way to put that. And let's see. Oh, and then Alcatraz01, would you recommend your personal site or Patreon? What's the difference? Thanks for asking that question. So I think the best is if you go through my personal site at uprighthealth.com/donate and you donate through my website. That's actually the best financially, because Patreon and YouTube take a lot. They take a huge commission from any donations or any contributions you make. So it is generally best to just go through my website, but it's really what you prefer, right? Like if it's easier for you to just do it through Patreon, that's great. Then you can do a recurring thing. That's great. I'm not even sure if on my website I have it set up to do a recurring thing. Maybe I should do that at some point, right? YouTube memberships, I don't know if I'm going to keep those, because my impression is not everybody even knows how to use it. It's not really prominently displayed, and then YouTube takes a dramatic cut. Oh, cool. Gary Bendinger, welcome to a Stabilizing Muscle. Thanks very much for actually joining and becoming a YouTube member. I appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you at one of the member live streams when I get all this live streaming stuff figured out. And let's see, I will check out one more question here. Alcatraz, good. Roger, that side it is. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And John Frank, it sounds like you got a lot going on. All kinds of things, compression fractures, neck and shoulder issues, terrible pain all the time. Well, let me say this. Being in terrible pain all the time sucks. I've been there. I spent a lot of my 20s in that position. A couple weeks ago, I was pretty much, wrecked. I mean, I really was wrecked and really wondering about how I had managed to cripple myself so badly. So I understand, I get it. And also, I'm glad that you're using this as an opportunity to learn. Going to your physical therapist, I assume, is who you're saying that's what your physical therapy is. You're seeing physical therapists. I'm glad you're learning from them. I'm glad that they're teaching you things. I strongly recommend you keep learning wherever you can, whether it's on my channel, other channels. Just make sure that whatever content you are consuming. It's content that is teaching you to understand how much power you have to make yourself better and how crucial that is. Like the foundation of you feeling good is you understanding how your body works and what movements, what practices, what habits keep your body feeling good. And some of those practices, once you're already in a lot of pain, it takes time to dig your way out. And one of the analogies is like being in debt. If you're deep in debt, it's going to take you time to save up and pay off that debt and do all this stuff. So even when you're paying off the debt, you're still not out of debt for a while. And then once you're out of debt, that's when you start actually starting to feel good. So in the meantime, it's going to be feeling better, a little bit better, a little bit better, until eventually you start to feel like, oh, I can do this now, I can do this now, and that's when it gets really fun. But in these early stages, when you're feeling like, man, everything hurts and I'm just in constant pain, it's a tough time. You're going to learn so much though, and for every little victory, make sure that you celebrate it, enjoy it, and realize what it means in the long term. It means these little bits of improvement mean you're not hopeless. It means that improvement is possible, and it proves it to you as your general sensations get better, your energy levels get better, everything gets better, your outlook gets better. So I'm sorry that you're in that spot, that so much stuff hurts, but one day you will get out of that spot. So everybody, I gotta get going. This was a pleasure now that we got it working. I appreciate you being here with me and doing these stretches with me. I hope these helped you. If you have further questions, drop them in the comments. Find me on another live chat when I surprise you with one. And let's keep our fingers crossed that we got all the tech issues sorted out. Thank you guys so much. If you want to support me, uprighthealth.com/donate. You can donate on my website. And you, even better, go to uprighthealth.com/DIY and find one of the programs that works for you, that looks like, oh yeah, that deals with my issues. Those programs will help you, and when you buy one, it helps me. And if you decide that, yeah, it didn't fit, doesn't help me, I just give you your money back, that's fine. So it's the most principled way I could figure out how to help you without driving myself crazy with a million people knocking on my door. So thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate your support and your watching. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks. Life shouldn't.